All right, Ian.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the Intellivision Amico.
Week after week, Pat has to talk about the imminent train wreck that is the Intellivision Amico. With each week, a new jab, some backhanded slight, or entire segments framing the latest news as validation of and doubling down on the certainty of its failure. Thing is, those assertions don't hold up to scrutiny. Time and again, there are more plausible cases to be made, and any discussion of the merits to the contrary is ignored. Understandably, as it wouldn't jive with the overall narrative being crafted here. Pat and Ian make sport of taking any news or presentation on the Amico, turning it on its side, and spinning that as proof positive for a more deliberate narrative being crafted, nefarious in its implication. Pat and Ian didn't start out this way. Their earlier coverage, largely dismissive, was still fairly measured.
Regardless of the price point he wants to put it at, regardless of the, at least, nice sounding intentions of, making it appeal to family. He even says, it even says in the interview that I had on my phone, I don't know where I found it.
Is it the VentureBeat article?
Yeah, VentureBeat. Okay. It talks about...
I'm not trying to also discount Tommy's experience with, because again,
it says
he's in all those Intellivision video game year topics.
It says, it's not it makes no bold claims about it being able to play modern games, but then when you out and out say that, then you start getting into like retro VGS and Chameleon territory on the question of, no, I don't mean that in terms of like a ripoff. I just mean then
what's the point?
Who are your developers?
Yeah.
Who are you going to get on board? How are you going to get people to limit themselves to this development ecosystem?
This is the, I guess
you can't.
And I guess Tommy realizes this stuff. He's not a dumb guy. Obviously, not many people under 30 know what it was. It doesn't have as big a name as Atari, but the idea is to bring it into the 21st century for all those people who don't know what Shark is or Astro Smash.
I do love Astro Smash.
Astro Smash isn't a bad game at all.
Oh, it's fucking fantastic.
But people aren't going to be interested in playing it.
No.
I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Not long into their ongoing rundowns, any good faith efforts to fairly cover the console in development, or further acknowledgement of the ideas that seemed to interest them early on, disappeared as coverage became exceedingly personal and insult-laden. The Intellivision Amico is the most substantial effort at launching a new hardware entity, creating, or in this case reintroducing, a professional console brand in video games, since Microsoft. It's unfairly lumped categorically with murky concept consoles, or minimal scope, wholly crowdfunding efforts, opaque in nature with no real company footing behind them. And the two podcast hosts cannot seem to grasp or offer even that crumb of credibility in their coverage.
Good news, Ian. GameStop doesn't have a release date on its site, which it still does for the Amico, by the way, which is not going to be...
Because it's coming out on the 10th, buddy. October 10th. It's almost here.
So this is the good news when it comes to Atari. They have a console. We've seen it produced. We've seen it booted up and playing games. We've seen it with their menu. You can go on YouTube. You can go on Netflix with it. You can go on the AntStream service with it. As much as we gave them shit, there's something on the horizon that we see right now with the Atari VCS. I'm gonna give Atari the benefit of the doubt. Those were real produced consoles on that pallet. I don't think they faked that. Those were real consoles on that pallet. All evidence points to them actually having produced that. I'm not trying to be glib. They had the factory things. They showed us all that stuff. They produced it.
Cool.
They didn't produce all of them. They produced some of them. They produced the first 500 to get to all the people that needed them for their, all the developers they have waiting for all their stuff. All right. Hey, but you know what? If people get this and it's a computer that works, they're going to fool around with it. They have a cool little Atari thing. Hey, I won't judge you if you get your product and you like it. I won't judge you too harshly on this. If you actually get your fucking product at some point in time, you have a console. We've seen it powered up and played from boot, unlike the Amico. So, we've seen it, Ian. They didn't fake it.
Dialogue is desperately needed, but the two aren't having it. To date, neither host has gone on the record engaging with anyone on their frequent topic, save their own fervent supporters in their comments. People Pat himself has interviewed and frequently name drops have actually played the thing, and or have a different opinion.
I'm Pat Contry, and this week my guest is Jason Lindsay, otherwise known online as Metal Jesus. Rocks. How you doing, Jason?
I am doing well, and it's weird for people to use my last name. It's most people don't know that.
So I'm one of the few people who have actually played it. So Intellivision Entertainment, his company had a small little room that you can make an appointment and check it out. And so we did. And we played it for about 20 minutes. It was really interesting because we got to meet all of the senior staff that he has hired and talk to people that are, in his company that are working on it. And then we also played a couple games.
And my guest this week is Kelsey Lewin. She's a retro gamer, retro collector. She appears in YouTube videos. She appears on the Metal Jesus Rocks channel. And she is co-owner of the Pink Gorilla retro game stores in the Seattle area. Welcome, Kelsey. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Myself, Metal Jesus, Kelsey, all played the Intellivision Amico at E3, but couldn't talk about it because we were waiting for the big unveil. And this video was mostly that unveil, and I'll get to that in a little bit. There's some things on that video that no one's talking about, and there's also some things that we saw that weren't on the video. So then at E3, we go in this room. We met like 19 people that are all crammed in this room, and all very respectful, and handshakes and business cards being passed back and forth and everything. And they had the display units and everything, and they say, here it is. Here is the Intellivision Amico. Not what it could look like. It's not hooked up to a computer. It's hooked up to an Intellivision Amico. It's playing it on real hardware. So awesome.
Even if that console was somehow running those games, that's not my definition of a working console. A working console to me is something close to retail and consumer ready. And I want to splice that here because there's when we see those videos, we don't see the game boot up. We don't see the game being loaded. We don't see the console powered up. We don't see the LED lights around the console. We don't see the controllers being synced to the console. We don't see anything. So again, I don't know if we can give him the benefit of the doubt to that anyway. And if Tommy wanted to shut us up in the past week, all he had to do, Ian, was, hey, Pat, here's a console. I'm hooking up HDMI to the TV. Here's the power button. It's on. There's a splash screen. I'm going to click the menu, and I'm going to load up the game and play it. That's all you'd have to have done.
And then Metal Jesus was a huge fan of the game Shark. Spelled Shark exclamation point, Shark exclamation point. It was a game I was familiar with, but didn't really play much. Like I didn't have it personally. So this is me going into a new game now. Like Moon Patrol, I knew Moon Patrol, played it all the time, played it at the arcade, played it on the 2600. It was on the Intellivision, coming back, awesome. Shark was one of those games that I heard of, didn't really play, and going into it, didn't really know anything about it either. So this is me with a new video game experience. Nostalgia for some, but a new experience for me. And trust me, I'm old, right? I'm older than sand. I'm older than my birthday. That's how old I am. And so I don't have any nostalgia factor for Shark at all. We had so much fun playing it. It was a party game.
Have fun spending $200 to play an updated Shark. Have fun out there doing that. We'll see how long that makes the system last in the ecosystem.
So the Intellivision Amico, I played it, and like I said, I played it on real hardware. The more I play it, the more I'm behind it. I know it's me after I played it, because I actually had my hands on it. There's a lot of people out there who are just like, maybe they have one opinion or another, positive or negative, about the Amico. And my opinion is positive, because I played it.
Everyone, to this edition of the Not So Common podcast. I'm Pat Contry, and my guest this week is a big-time video game collector, even bigger than me. He's also a YouTuber. He is the immortal John Hancock. John, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me on.
John, we don't speak as often as we should. You're someone that I actually respect a lot in the collecting scene. I looked up to for a couple of different reasons.
The Intellivision Amico does have my support for many reasons. As a second grade teacher and a father, I'm always looking for opportunities to play video games as a whole family. My family is really into different games. My son really likes to play Minecraft. My wife doesn't really play many games at all. And my daughter's always on the tablet, it seems like. And so I see this gaming console as a way where we can come together and have some casual game fun. It does remind me of a Nintendo Wii a little bit, in a good way, because I think the Nintendo Wii did provide some family gaming entertainment, and this could capture some of that appeal of something where we could all come together and play, have some fun, and call good.
Returning is super collector, the immortal John Hancock. Welcome back, John. It's been about 10 months since I've spoken to you.
It has, and it's always a pleasure being on your wonderful show. And
wonderful.
There's not a hammer in the background this time.
So I'm going to say this. To me, it'd be highly unethical to take this much money from backers and in deposit money, $1.5 million, knowing likely that this is not going to come out in October and probably won't be out this year. Are people going to tag me for saying that? Like, you have to hold us to the same standard as any other product or any other past console that came and went. You don't hold this product to a different standard because the quote unquote face of the product is doing interviews with all these YouTubers.
Yeah. Tommy's a pretty outspoken guy. He's not afraid to go after his detractors. In fact, I think I think he actually got into a little tiff with Pat the NES Punk on social media.
I was following that.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting.
You don't see him reaching out to them, though. For their confirmation bias, Ian and Pat and the audience cheering on their spat against a proposed system
banana pie
seem to have all the consideration either need, all the supposed insight or challenge for the most informed opinion, or perhaps just cover, while they disassemble notions that the Amico has any place or right to exist.
And in first place, hallelujah, will we ever see another major console that is not Nintendo / Sony / Microsoft? 45%. Ian, what do you think? Will we ever see another major console not from the big three?
No, I don't think we will. There was once a point in time, maybe. I just feel like the market holds about three modern consoles. Three consoles, major consoles. And I feel like the only way that we would see another major player enter the game from another company would be if one of the big three right now, Microsoft, Nintendo, or Sony, were to falter or leave the market.
And someone would just come in and replace them. So
someone would come in and replace them. You'd still have, yeah, exactly. As time goes on, we have more and more stuff around that plays these little games. Our phones, browsers, things like that. And then at home, you have other stuff to play. I just think, so you would, I do truly feel that, like, yeah, there's no room for it. Both in terms of there's no reason for there to be another system right now that could support AAA games, and we don't need a system at a lower end to play mobile quality games.
No.
So, a measured response, topic by topic, on their points, in context, both good and bad, on what the two so evidently get wrong, the troubling flaws in their logic of some of their more foundational assertions, while acknowledging some of their better points, and how that might move forward if the well weren't so poisoned, setting the stage for multiple communities watching this console reveal to move forward, or at least have a point of reference for the counterargument and often correction. That is the premise of this series. So early on, a central theme emerged that this console is a patently bad idea, and that no admissible audience could exist for it to even find a modicum of success. And any dialogue and escape from the two-man echo chamber to really consider whether this console has merit or potential was dismissed outright. They have an opinion, and no facts or different perspective is going to affect it.
What I have an issue with is the fact that I can't make my own opinion on what I've seen. Talking about it isn't going to necessarily change me. I'm looking at the business aspect of it and what we've seen before, and this is just simply my opinion.
That's no way to approach anything.
No, I
can't. These fucking consoles, I'm sick of them. I'm sick of
it didn't come out yet.
I'm sick of the Atari VCS.
I'm sick of people asking about the fucking Polymega. I don't know anything about the Polymega, but apparently Polymega quietly delayed their base unit another couple of months. Just whatever.
Pat in particular seems determined as he interjects quips into unrelated topics, staging every measure of success or stumble in relation to his Amico is hurtling disaster narrative.
Eventually, the magic runs out when it comes to this stuff. It just does. It just you don't have it in you anymore, or the world has passed you by, Ian. The world's going to pass me by, but it hasn't already. When it comes to doing a podcast or doing online media, like it just things change. You know?
Yes, sir.
So anyway, that's about what I say about Quibi. This is a long. Well, check it out. A long article at vulture.com. I mean, it goes into even people talking about how Katzenberg, whenever he had a company, bought out I think it was DreamWorks, where like they overpaid to make sure he wouldn't stay with the company. Here it is. When Comcast Universal bought DreamWorks, it was on the condition he left the company. Let's reiterate, a former friend says, Comcast chose to overpay for DreamWorks Animation to not have him there.
Wow. All right.
So there you go. And again, well, it sounds familiar. It sounds like a certain console where that you blame COVID for delays and not success, and you try to get by on past successes of yourself and employees for a new product. Wow. Sounds familiar. Mm-hmm. And also, there's also similarities because it sounded like to people, Jeffrey Katzenberg is the type of person that thinks he can will things into existence and will things to be successful just upon your personal spirit and working drive. And yes, you need a hard work ethic in order to be successful when it comes to things like this. Absolutely, you do. You can't get by being slovenly and things like that. But it doesn't mean if you have a bad product, it's going to be a success just because you're working day and night to make it happen.
Right.
I always think that's funny. This whole willing things into existence and self-help book motif bullshit about, well, I'm visualizing in my mind, it's going to happen. That's not how the real world works. It can work out if you have a good product, but if you don't have something people want, it's not going to work. And that goes for Quibi or the Quibi console that's in development as well.
This undoubtedly fueled in no small part by his public feud with Intellivision CEO, which has metastasized into thinly veiled contempt and hostility.
Yo, this is how you play right here. Hey, yo, this pinball got me thinking. You should put this on the Amico. We got flippers, we got buttons on the sides, like a flipper there. Wouldn't that be something?
Amico.
What the hell is that?
You can't take criticism. It's hilarious how little you can take criticism, which is why you're hiding in your Atari Age board.
Rocco, you know who that is, huh?
Yeah, I know who that is.
Well, look, you need some help?
Nah, I got this, guys. He probably just wants to ride in a Ferrari or something. Hey, yo, Patsy, Ferrari's a little small, but your friend there can ride on your lap, I guess.
I get attacked by Tommy Tallarico. Then you have nothing at this point that I want to hear about. I mean, absolutely nothing.
Yo, you come down here to fight, and you throw hands with me? Let's be civil, yo. Debate me.
Eat my asshole with your insider info. Bullshit. Eat it.
He has no class. Come on, Rob. Hey, he has no class. Come on.
Let's go. Said he actually debate me?
A personal grudge, coupled with earlier dismissive assessments, have hamstrung and skewed their ongoing coverage.
Anyways, it's a weird group of cheerleaders.
It's weird. It's really weird, and it's getting harder and harder for me to be impartial now in terms of me wanting this to be a success or fail the more I get attacked by Tommy Tallarico. That's all I'm going to say.
Because we had the gall to not immediately say this is going to be the best thing ever.
Gone is any exploration of the more critical or novel concepts.
I was trying to think, maybe the touch would be a substitute for a trackball. Like, because a trackball, you have to be controlling it as you go over. It's not just instant touch. For missile command, you have to move with the cursor. It's not just place the cursor there. So finger moves, trackball moves. How many games out there are you going to need? Say even it works great. Say it works say there's no lag. Say it's one-to-one. Say it's as precise as a trackball or a mouse or a little thumbstick. How many games could you possibly develop where you're actually going to utilize that and have that be an advantage?
Well, a lot of PC style ports could be. I could see something like, but this is the thing. It doesn't work. It's not comfortable.
Instead, the pair chase speculation and wishful thinking, reading the tea leaves of imminent collapse behind the scenes.
You're still seeking investors for a product that's literally supposed to come out 6 months from yesterday, October 20th, and you've taken pre-order money from potentially over 10,000 people. I just don't know. I'm not trying to speculate too much, but to me, that's not entirely positive that all your ducks aren't in a row. Or maybe they're not in a row for after the pre-order launch. Like, what the timing to me is just weird.
Sure. That
it's happening all now at once, and we don't know what the board is in here yet. It's been postulated that it's a Banana Pi board. I'm not going to say that's for true. Some of the specs do line up with the Banana Pi board, which is like a $15 to $20 off the shelf Android system board there. It has not been revealed. They don't have to reveal if they don't want to, but obviously people are going to be wondering it. But to me, it's probably in that cost range based upon what this system is. It's probably something like that.
It's all well. We were wrong. It's all for
accessories that they'll be working on for 2021 and 2022, according to Tommy Tallarico.
Questions answered.
Yeah, because when I'm struggling to get a game console, what I want to do, Ian, is worried about my accessory. I'm going to be coming out in the market in 2 years. That's what I want to do when I'm way behind and I've already taken $1.5 million of people's money and $500,000 from, again, the German government, which no one is talking about. And these interviews don't bring up at all, which I think is a pretty fair point to bring up. Yeah, because when I'm struggling to get a game console, what I want to do, Ian, is worried about my accessory. I'm going to be coming out in the market in 2 years. Out. We always said this about the Coleco Chameleon. The worst case scenario wasn't it being a scam. The worst case scenario was it coming out, people buying it, and then within like 3, 4, 5 months, the environment was gone, and now all these people are out of their money, and then they have a shitty piece of trash in front of them that they can't use or don't want to use anymore.
Right.
That's the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that something like the Amigo comes out and it might have, a little push at the front. But then what happens when the developers realize, I can't be exclusive, we're not selling anything here. Then you have no new more exclusive games. The market, the ecosystem just disappears. Because now you have to start asking as you go down the line, will this get enough money involved behind the scenes to not just get to market, but to support it after it gets to market? Because again, the most dangerous portion when we cover stuff like the Coleco Chameleon, we always argued that the worst case scenario wasn't that it wasn't going to be not come out. The worst case scenario was that it gets to market and then it's just dropped support immediately. Because then you had people that spent their money, got their hopes up, got a product that's really unfinished. And with a game console, getting it to market is the very, very first baby step.
Right.
That's the very start of the launch of your product.
Well, even back at the beginning, and I think maybe even you weren't so certain, I was fairly certain that this would come to market. That's honestly that wasn't my concern. Just like with the VCS, my concern was not whether or not it would come to market. I'm certain that they're going to, shit something out of that Atari factory and get it into people's hands. It's whether or not it's going to be something that can be supported after its launch window.
Can you support it after the launch window? Can you deal with customer service? Can you deal with server issues? Can you deal with firmware updates? Can you get the new games launched effectively and supported?
The two have misunderstood, misstated, and purposely contorted the console's premise, its audience, even small measures of success as they drive to absolutes to blindly justify their narrative. Pat goes so far as to regularly recommend that his listeners go visit a tabloid content Tumblr feed. Memes, adulterated images, and juvenile screen captures of YouTube comments that Pat enjoys indulging for its crackpot conspiracies and wanton innuendo, as it feeds his failure fantasy. He recommends his audience go there for the real scoop on Amico information.
So, the source of this information is that good old source for Amico news, amicogames.com, which is a Tumblr that literally posts memes about what's been going on with the Intellivision Amico and its CEO, Tommy Tallarico. And some of them are pretty funny, so check out amicogames.com. It's getting ridiculous. There is a nice theory at my favorite website, amicogames.com, your source for Intellivision Amico information.
That's about as first-hand, insightful, or reliable as 4chan. Pat and Ian have over a dozen feature segments now taking apart the Amico, and several times as many jabs in those unrelated topics they use to further dismantle at every chance. And while that audience is routinely presented and fed the most negative and twisted take, it hardly does the subject of a new console justice. Pat returns to this well time and time again, with some tepid conjecture and offhand postulation, and a portion of his audience find it entertaining, compelling. It has all the trappings of a soap opera drama, with bad faith actors and an unraveling plot, but it's also irresponsible, and with a hint of digging, proving false. But it's entertainment, and the topic makes for some of the completely unnecessary podcast's best performing videos of the last year. So there's little doubt this will continue for the foreseeable future.
Anyway, so we are the official aftermarket Dead Console Back to Life podcast.
Mm-hmm. That's the feedback loop we're in. That's the prism through which one of the most recognized and sizable long-time gaming coverage podcasts relays new developments of the Intellivision Amico. Is any of this positive for gaming? For an audience interested in video games? Are the two sounding the alarm to the broader community of this fraudulent company attempting to pawn off some clone budget board
banana pie
that AtGames would turn a nose at? while its sleazy CEO lies about its development progress.
I'm going to be as professional as I can from the start. I must say that without ad hominems toward the people running it or person running it, especially the person that has called us both lazy cowards. We're still going to be professional discussing this from a business aspect.
Yes.
As much as we possibly. We're going to give more respect to the person who isn't giving us respect. We'll just say that.
You serious?
Okay, well, let's roll the tape on that. Oh, sure, okay.
We're not talking. We don't need gaming rapists in our world anyway.
Fucking ridiculous.
Another edgelord right there, who coined that sleazy CEO. Anyway, all right, that's about it for now. I'm sure we'll get another video where Tommy has to drive down his Ferrari to pick up a hack YouTuber in order to make himself look better because his feelings got hurt about some opinionated podcasters. But for now, it is what it is. Kudos for putting on a good interview there and not just giving a hand job in a Ferrari there. So anyway, Ian. So anything else we want to add? They're just making money off of people that want self-aggrandizing little plaques of themselves and memorials. I'm not saying if one of those people is developing a new game console, but probably. So those are the people that's how they make their money. Yes. Guinness Book. It's not like this esteemed organization.
Right.
Guinness Book. It's not. It's a joke. The CU podcast listeners demand more. Thank God we did.
It was a good pod. I'm glad we did the Rocket League one too because I came back around on it at the end.
Yeah, we didn't want the podcast sheriffs to do videos on you. Well, they don't do videos on you. They just do videos on me, and you're sort of like in the background because they can't clickbait your name versus mine.
No, they just threaten my wife and shit like that. So
I'm talking about the YouTubers.
Oh, I see.
The YouTubers. They can't make.
Oh, YouTubers. I mean, they could make something on me, but I mean, what would the point be?
Yeah. On the bigger target when it comes to that. Yeah, but whatever. We have the insider. We have the insider info. I'm so happy. Hopefully, we get some sort of like guerrilla, videotaping like the meetings, or maybe he'll go into the restroom and videotape the guys. The insider info. Eat my asshole with your insider info. Bullshit. Eat it. Sorry.
It's fine. I'm hungry.
You're hungry not for that.
I don't want asshole, but I definitely want to eat something.
FlexProMeals.com/CU podcast. Hopefully that will continue. That's just silly. They should be ashamed of themselves for the way they've handled this.
Shame.
Oh my God.
Shame.
It's embarrassing. But we're the ones that should be embarrassed.
Shine a light on me. In all of my life, so there's much more I see.
Are they shining a light on precious German taxpayer grants being pocketed and millions being raked in, scamming hapless backers? The scumbag seller of the century? Or are the duo projecting some unwarranted and self-serving supposition, discarding facts for the narrowest and most warped view possible? Cavalier in their speculation as they angle to label this upstart as an imposter. The latter is the persistent message I take away, and clearly others are happy to run with, judging from the comments field within their coverage. Toxic as a term really doesn't do justice to the groundwork being fostered. Pat and Ian will certainly watch this, if history's any indication.
Hi, I'm Pat the NES Punk. I have big hair, kind of similar to my grandmother's, and I like to wear muscle shirts so I can show off my muscles to all my manly subscribers. Now, I'm here to tell you that the Intellivision Amico is just straight up garbage. There's nothing in there but like a banana custard pie internally. And the internal components are a banana custard pie, so I wouldn't take that thing seriously.
Like my comic shirt, Ian. Second one in a row this week. I know someone likes to watch it. Look at what I'm wearing each week. I know you're out there.
I fully expect they'll have something rather offhand to say.
Eat my asshole with your insider info. Bullshit. Eat it.
And they can continue to use their platform as a bully pulpit, erecting their sleazy CEO strawman while reminding the audience who's really borne the brunt of unwarranted personal affronts. though I suspect they'd chafe at the suggestion that they aren't honest arbiters, merely forming an opinion. This series will be there to build dialogue where there isn't any. You know, should you not actually take Pat and Ian's well-researched and thoroughly informed take as gospel? Because a new video game console really is exciting to a non-insignificant segment of the retro gaming community. And this one has some legs. And while a lot has been alleged, the prognosis actually doesn't seem so fatal. This series is your second opinion on the completely unnecessary podcast portrayal of the Intellivision Amico.